The story takes place in a world where people can use magic. At the beginning of the story, a man called Elric Melvinger is told that the disease he is currently suffering from is called blockage disease, and it is a rare condition where mana is unable to flow freely in one's body. The doctor tells Elric that they have tried everything they can do but they can't cure his disease. At school, Elric goes to talk to his sister through a magical orb. His sister asked him about the situation of his body. Elric reassured his sister by telling her that a cure will soon be produced. She asked him if he needs more money for his treatment. When she said this, Elric told her that his friends are calling and he needs to go. Elric said this because he didn't want to tell his sister about his situation. At Elric's academy, students' results were released and Elric got an A in almost all his subjects. His classmates couldn't believe what they saw. When Elric checked the subjects that required him to use magic, he got an F in all of them. Because of the F he got in the practical subjects, Elric failed to graduate from the school. This was Elric's fourth time failing the school exam, and according to school rules, if a student fails the school exam 4 times, the student will face expulsion. Elric was afraid to be expelled because if he is chased out of the school, he would have no way to restore his family's glory. Elric studied really hard to stay in the academy. He excelled in the theory aspect of magic. He is someone who could be considered a genius. He wasn't just intelligent, he could also sense mana better than any magician. The only problem Elric had was his blockage disease. No matter how talented Elric was, he couldn't overcome the disease. Thanks to this, he can only become a magic scholar. While it is a good job, it can't restore his family's glory. Elric's grandfather was the hero of the Great Demon War. He was referred to as the Magician of the Stars. He was a great man who basically wiped out the demons. His name was Ustin Melvinger. Ustin created the greatest magic school in their nation. This school is Ustin Academy, Elric's current school. If Elric was to be expelled from the academy created by his family, it would bring shame to his family. While Elric was looking at the statue of his grandfather, some girls were gossiping about him. They referred to Elric as the disgrace of the Melvinger family. This statement really hurt Elric. He approached the girls and asked them if they are first-year students of the physical magic department. The girls said they are. Elric asked them if they know a professor called Sean. He said that Sean is his close friend. Elric told the girls to show him their name tags so that he can report them to Sean. When the girls heard this, they ran away. After they left, Elric looked at the statue of his grandfather and wondered what life would be like if he was still around. After saying this, Elric decided to find a solution to his problem. At a cafe, Elric is looking at books from his school which talk about blockage disease. While reading, he is attacked from the back by someone. As Elric was about to fight back, he realized that the person that hit him is his friend Sean Nemister, the third son of the Nemister family. Sean asked Elric why he was using his name to scare students. He told Elric not to bother the young students again. Elric asked him to forgive him and to join him for a drink. After Elric's family fell, the world of magic was led by 6 families. They called themselves the Hexagram. Sean is the son of the Nemister family which belongs to the Hexagram. He graduated school early and became a professor at Ustin Academy. Sean is among the people who take care and watch over Elric. When he sat down, Sean brought out a file and gave it to Elric. The file talks about the Diamond Dragon exploration plan. Elric asked Sean why he gave him such a file. Sean said that a dragon's nest was recently discovered and he wants Elric to follow him to explore it. Elric was shocked to hear this. He couldn't believe that a dragon's nest, which people refer to as the origin of magic, was discovered. Sean told Elric that if he discovers an artifact in this dragon's nest, the academy won't expel him. Elric believed that he could find something better than an artifact. He believed that he could also find a cure for his blockage disease. But he knew that if he found something like that, the headmaster would take it away from him. While reading the file, Elric found something odd in it. He began to laugh like a crazy person. Sean asked him what was wrong with him. Elric told Sean that there is no dragon nest in the location they found. When Sean heard this, he looked around to see if anybody was paying attention to them. Fortunately, no one was looking at them. He moved close to Elric and told him to watch his mouth. he told Elric that he is challenging a lot of professors who worked hard on this project. Elric told Sean that what he said is the truth. Sean decided to hear Elric out. He placed his hand on the map he gave Elric and used some magic on it. Immediately he did this, he and Elric got transported into the map. Inside the map, Elric and Sean went to look at the crack which was assumed to be the dragon's nest. Elric said that there is a huge amount of mana flowing out of the crack. He said that this amount of mana must have been accumulated for at least 100,000 years, so it is not shocking to him that people think that the dragon's nest is in the crack. Elric asked Sean what the three principles of mana stream were. Sean thought that Elric was making fun of him because it is something that every professor knows. Sean said that mana flows from high to low, from wide to narrow and from cold to hot. Elric said that based on these principles, the professors assumed that this place was a dragon's nest. However, because hot magma flows from the crack, mana cannot gather there and therefore, a dragon cannot build its nest in the crack. After seeing what Elric was talking about, they came out of the map. Sean said that they sensed the mana of a dragon in that area, so there is no way a dragon's nest is not there. Elric told Sean that a dragon nest is actually there but in a different location. He told Sean that the nest is right under a cave. After hearing what Elric had to say, Sean went to the dean's office to report the discovery. Sean was scared to enter the dean's office because he could be chased away if he makes the dean angry. While thinking of what to do, Sean remembers seeing Elric do his best to practice magic in order to change his family situation. When he remembered this, he boosted his courage and stepped into the dean's office. The dean, whose name is Barracks, was angry to hear that the research report he made himself was wrong. Barracks told Sean that if he doesn't manage to convince him that his report is wrong, he will make Sean regret it. When Barracks said this, Sean felt an overwhelming pressure because of Barracks' mana. Sean immediately understood why Barracks is called a seventh circle magician. While Sean was shaking in fear, Elric badged into Barracks' office. Sean was surprised to see him. He asked Elric what he was doing there. Barracks asked Elric if Sean's opinion came from his deduction. Barracks congratulated Elric on his contribution. He told Elric that his opinion has no evidence to back up his claims. Elric said that the location of the dragon's nest was so simple to find that a 3-year-old could find it easily, and yet the dean still needs evidence. Sean was angry to hear this. He couldn't believe that Elric was taunting the dean. When Barracks heard what Elric said, he began to laugh in a crazy manner. Elric asked him if his guess about the location is wrong. Barracks said that the guess is wrong, but as a professor he can't ignore the opinion of a student. He asked Elric to make a bet with him. He said that he would give Elric all the resources he needs to form the exploration team. If Elric fails to get to the dragon's nest, he will have to give away his heirloom. In the next scene, we see Elric and Sean in a carriage. Sean screamed at Elric and asked him if he is not angry. Elric told Sean to calm down and stop screaming. Sean grabbed the book that Elric was reading and asked him what he will do if his predictions are wrong and he loses his family's heirloom. The heirloom is a pendant which is passed down only to the head of Melvinger family. Elric told Sean that Barracks has always wanted his pendant, so it is not shocking to him. He thanked Sean for always being on his side and supporting him. After calming down, Sean asked Elric what his plans are. Elric told Sean that the reason he bet his family's heirloom wasn't because he was afraid of getting expelled. He said that if Barracks wants his family's heirloom, he should have bet his life too. In that moment Sean remembered that Elric has two nicknames. The first is the disgrace of the Melvinger family, while the second is the worst of the Melvinger family. Sean remembered what happened 7 years ago when some students were practicing their magic. Elric couldn't do it, so he sat in a corner. One of the students walked up to him and started to show off his magic to Elric. The student said that Elric is probably not from the Melvinger family and he was probably adopted. After the student said this, he and his gang decided to leave Elric alone. When the student turned his back, Elric picked up a magic orb and smashed it on the student's head. After the incident, Elric was called by the disciplinary committee. The committee asked Elric why he carried out such an action. Elric told them that his actions were justified because the student who he beat up is the son of a Viscount family, and yet he had the audacity to insult the head of a Duke family. According to the laws of the empire which they live in, this is a crime, and the Duke has the right to punish any lower nobles. When the committee heard what Elric said, they were shocked. They could not punish Elric severely because his actions were right, so they suspended him for some time because of the school rules. When Elric returned from suspension, all the students began to fear him. Sean looked at the book he took away from Elric. When he saw the title, he began to scream, "This is because this book is forbidden in the Empire and anyone caught with it will be killed." Sean asked Elric why he was learning the Beast King's body-strengthening arts. Elric said that he was looking for a clue to solving his blockage disease. In the past, the Beast King and his army invaded the Empire. Thanks to his body-strengthening arts which enhanced his physical ability, the Empire had a difficult time fighting him. Fortunately for the Empire, they were able to destroy the Beast King and his army. They built a wall to separate the Empire from the Beast people. Due to the war, the Beast King body-strengthening art was lost. Sean asked Elric why he is reading such a book because the scholars of the Empire failed to restore the body-strengthening arts. Elric told Sean that he had already finished restoring the arts himself. Sean was surprised to hear this. He knew Elric was a genius, but he did not know it would be on this level. While they were talking, their carriage suddenly stopped. When Elric and Sean came down to see what caused it, they met the student which Elric beat up in school and his gang. The student, whose name is Rivern, had grown up and was now working at a research institute as a senior researcher. Rivern told Elric that Barracks asked them to help him. When Elric saw the group that was there to help him, he knew that Barracks hired them to watch and harm him. Sean asked Elric if he noticed how some of the men were looking at him. Elric told Sean not to worry because he also came prepared. In Barracks' office, Barracks found out that Elric took certain items from the school. The items are Gehenna's Breath and the Azure Sky Lord Amur. Barracks asked the attendant why he allowed Elric to take such item. The attendant told Barracks that he allowed Elric to take the items because Barracks asked them to support Elric no matter the cost. Gehenna's Breath is a magical orb that burns its target endlessly until they are ashes, while the Azure Sky Lord Armor is an armor that is resistant to not only physical but magical damages. After the attendant left, Barracks decided to check the map again. He noticed that the location Elric found was actually the right one. He was angry that the professors of the academy couldn't find right location and yet Elric did, but this did not matter to him. His only aim was to get the Elric pendant because it would help him in becoming the Prime Minister of the Empire. Because of this, Barracks hired the magicians in Elric's group to kill him and get the pendant. Sean activated a magic called Mana Search. The magic was used to search the environment and confirm the location of the dragon's nest. After Sean activated the magic, a pillar of light shined next to them. The research team were shocked to see this light because it proved that Elric was right about the location of the dragon's nest. Elric told the research team to run towards the light before it goes out. Sean picked Elric up and began to run at full speed. When the research team finally arrived at the pillar of light, they didn't see anything. Rivern began to mock Elric. He called Elric a failure and a loser. After seeing that Elric failed to find the nest, Rivern decided to attack Elric on the orders of Barracks. As he was about to attack, Elric told Sean to activate his magic. Sean used a magic called Flare to destroy the ground that was producing the light. After creating a hole in the ground, Elric told everyone to enter it. As the researchers were moving into the cave, they noticed that everywhere was very cold, but they still continued to move inside. As they continued to move deeper into the cave, Elric felt a chill down his spine. He stopped for a moment to understand what he felt. When Sean asked him what happened, he said he felt something odd. Sean told him to ignore it and continue moving. Somewhere inside the cave, a person who was imprisoned said that Elric had finally arrived. After walking for a while, Elric and the research team finally arrived at a giant door that had a dragon design on it. The research team was about to use magic to destroy the door, but Elric stopped them. He told them that they don't know what would happen if they destroyed it. Elric and the research team decided to talk about their next step of action. While they were talking, River noticed a golden button on the door. He decided to check it out. After looking at it for a while he decided to press it. Immediately Elric saw him. He told him to stop, but it was already too late. After River pressed the button, strange letters began to appear on the door. When Elric saw this, he immediately knew that the button River pressed had activated a trap. The giant door began to attack the researchers with fire. Immediately the researchers saw this. They created a shield with their magic to block the fire. While everyone was doing their best to block the fire, Elric did his best to remain calm. He decided to think of his current situation as a test problem. He brought out a book and pen and started to calculate the problem. After solving the problem, Elric approached the golden button on the door and said some words. After saying these words, Elric pressed the button. Fortunately for Elric and the research team, the attack stopped. After Elric stopped the attacks, Sean thanked him for saving his life. He asked Elric how he could solve such a complicated issue. Elric said that this is something he is talented in. While they were doing their best to pull themselves together, one of the researchers' hand got destroyed. When Elric looked up to see what caused this problem, he saw hundreds of ice shards. Sean and the research team immediately activated their magic to block the ice. After seeing the ice shards, Elric brought out his book and began to calculate the problem. While calculating the problem, Elric had a vision. He saw a dragon in his vision. He immediately understood that the ice shards were created by the unique ability only dragons possessed. The ability is called Dragon Tongue Magic. After understanding what he needed, Elric asked Sean to push him towards the giant door with wind magic. Sean used his magic to push Elric at an insane speed. After pushing him halfway towards the door, Elric ran for his life. While running, one of the ice shards pierced his cloth, but fortunately for Elric he was wearing the Azure Sky Lord armor. After reaching the door, Elric successfully deactivated the trap. The entire research group and Sean were relieved because they couldn't stop the ice shards any longer. After Elric deactivated the trap, the giant door opened. The researchers pulled themselves together and went into the nest. When they stepped into the nest, they saw billions of gold and books. The researchers were amazed. They went to look around the nest. One of the researchers walked up to Elric and told him that he did an amazing job leading them. Sean walked up to Elric and asked him how he was able to deactivate the trap. Elric said that he just thought of the trap as a test he needed to solve. At that moment Elric realized that something was odd about the nest. He felt like the nest was testing him with the problems it gave them. Sean told Elric not to worry about anything because thanks to his achievement, nobody will be able to look down on his family again. Elric still felt like something was odd about the nest, but he decided to ignore the feeling and enjoy his achievement. While Elric was talking to Sean, one of the researchers pulled him away. Sean wanted to follow him, but River asked him to follow him. He said he found a dragon corpse. When Sean saw the dragon corpse, he guessed that the dragon must have been a dragon king in the past. While Sean was admiring the corpse, Elric was getting beat up by mercenaries which barracks hired. The mercenaries said that they had nothing against Elric, but they have to complete the job given to them. Elric was annoyed that he let his guard down after entering the nest. He knew that he shouldn't have trusted the researchers. One of the mercenaries brought out fire from his hand and he was ready to burn Elric. Suddenly, Elric sees a blue light shine in front of him. When he looked down, he saw the hand of the mercenary that tried to burn him. Elric looked around in fear. Immediately this happened. Elric heard people screaming. When he looked to see what caused it, he saw the dragon corpse moving and chasing everyone. Elric was not able to move. He could only look in fear. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to leave a like to help the channel out. 300 likes and I will make part 2. You can also check out our channel for more recaps. See you guys later.